Hello, you're listening to Daniel Ball Wrestling, and here we are today to talk about Takeover Night 2, NXT Takeover, Stand and Deliver. I'm tired. This is, thanks for everyone who's been listening. This is the sixth, what are we on Friday? Yeah, we're on Friday. This is the sixth consecutive day of shows. It seems like ages ago on Sunday we started with the Sakura Genesis show. Tuesday we were talking about Raw, Wednesday previewing Takeover, yesterday talking about Takeover, and today we're talking about Takeover Night 2. So the plan was last night to stay up and watch the show. That was the plan. I thought, stay up. I got about 45 minutes in and I thought, I need to go to sleep here. I need to go to sleep. I'm up in the morning, doing a little bit of work, and so I've watched the show today. I was going because I wanted to watch the Bloodsport show. Ideally, I wanted to watch the Bloodsport show. I'm about an hour into the Bloodsport show, but I thought I better plug the microphone in and talk about Night 2 of NXT Takeover. The last thing I want to do is get behind with everything. So, the plan is, tomorrow I'm going to be back doing another podcast talking about the Bloodsport show, which I'm going to finish watching shortly. So the Joey Janela Spring Break show, which is always a really fun WrestleMania show. The one in New York 2 years ago, which for some reason we didn't go to, even though we was in New York. Can't think what show we would have been at that Friday night. We didn't go. Actually, it was 2 nights, weren't it? Night 2 was after MSG, but we didn't even go to either night. And we was actually really staying really close, so that was a stupid decision. Be talking about the SmackDown. Obviously, SmackDown's tonight, and the WrestleMania themed SmackDown, where it's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royals on SmackDown, the SmackDown Tag Team title matches. Bet those guys are absolutely delighted. Been waiting for a year to wrestle in front of fans, and there's over 30 people who are stuck still wrestling at the Thunderdome. We'll also probably be talking a little bit about WrestleMania. The indie shows, I've not really heard. There's a Daniel Garcia match that I've heard is pretty good, which I am going to check out from the because I subscribed to IWTV, Independent Wrestling TV, yesterday. The show did seem a bit yesterday. I slipped up. I should not have stayed up for Takeover on Wednesday night because going to bed at like 4, getting up at 7, 8 o'clock yesterday was a write-off. It was hard to watch. Today, I still didn't get a good night's sleep. Last night, I was trying to do Night 2, so I should have really used my brain. But I'm used to being there. It feels horrible being stuck at home. My advice to anyone listening, be it on audio, Apple Podcast, Spotify, or even if you're watching on YouTube, right? If you're considering or not whether to go to WrestleMania, just go. Just go. If you're a wrestling fan, it's just fucking brilliant. Even if you sat there thinking, well, I don't really like WWE that much anymore, there's something for everyone there. Usually, like, all the New Japan guys are there. So I'm guessing if you're a wrestling fan, you don't like WWE, you do have interest in AEW and New Japan. They're the big 3 companies, aren't they? There's always going to be something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, New York had MSG, New Japan, Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, for some reason, they haven't got a Super Card of Honor. Has that even been mentioned? They've not actually got a Super Card of Honor show, do they, this year? But usually it's a Super Card of Honor. I'm sure that'll be back next year. There's Bloodsport, which I really enjoy watching the Bloodsport shows. I've still not been to one live. I was gutted I didn't go and see Suzuki against Josh Barnett the other year, but my mates went and they said that it was great. I'm trying to think what show we would have been at. We probably would have been at WrestleCon Super Show. We watched Will Ospreay against Bandido. Yeah, that was a great match as well. But there's something for everyone. So if you're thinking, should I go to WrestleMania? Even if you're on your own. I go with people to WrestleMania now, but I've been to WrestleMania on my own. But I've been to 2 WrestleManias on my own. But you meet people that become friends. Well, most people do. But you meet people, become friends with them. Sunday. So Sunday I'm traveling, 100 miles? 60 miles, yeah. We're all meeting up. Everyone who met at WrestleMania for years, we're all meeting up at our mate's house. Sorry, Boris. To watch WrestleMania. So, do you know what I mean? You make friends for life from these trips. Just go. If you're thinking about whether or not to go to Dallas, just fucking do it. I can't work out me. Fair enough if it's a financial thing. But I just don't understand why, if you're like a diehard wrestling fan, just go. Why? It's horrible being... don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying the podcast. Is just keeping me sane, to be honest. Because it's giving me a purpose to watch everything. But I'm sat here watching Bloodsport thinking, I had tickets for that. I think I did anyway. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel right sitting watching it home. WrestleMania week is a wrestling festival for wrestling fans. It's a week long festival type for wrestling fans. And my advice would just go. I wish I'd have started going sooner. First WrestleMania I went to was 31, and I should have been at 30 because for me that's the best show of the 30s, WrestleMania 30. We've got a comment in the chat. We've got Kevin saying that Night 2 was great. Now, Kevin, I'm going to get into my review. I did like Night 2. I'm not saying it was a bad show. I did prefer Night 1, though. Thought there was something. I think the match on Night, I think the difference is the Walter Ciampa match for me was the best match of the 2 nights, comfortably. I mean, I liked Adam Cole and O'Reilly, but it wasn't. I was thinking we was going to get this 5-star match, but it's the only problem you go. I think the gimmick, obviously they had to do it with the type of feud that they were in, but I think the gimmick sort of, when you think of Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, you don't think of, unsanctioned matches. You think of great technical matches, or in Adam Cole's case, you think of like the epics, don't you? The matches with Gargano, stuff like that. Kyle O'Reilly's a technician. You think of stuff like that, whereas, I don't know, I feel like anyone who's good can pretty much have a good one. Like Britt Baker. Britt Baker's hardly an experienced worker. Yeah, she's good. She's gotten a lot better, but she can go out there and put on a great unsanctioned match. So, yeah, it was. I like the show. But I don't think, for me personally, it was as good as Night 1. I've not even, because I've been that busy, I've not even had a chance to get the general consensus from people on Twitter over what night was better. I might put a poll up, actually. So I will do that now while we are on air. Right, so let's see. Which night, great audio for people listening, which night of NXT TakeOver was better? All right, Night 1, this is great audio, I'm sure, for everyone watching. But hey, we'll get the poll up, and then in about 15-20 minutes at the end of the show, we will see what people are saying. So yeah, that tweet, if you listen to the show, retweet that or vote in it. But yeah, we will see. Well, I don't know why that came up, but yeah, right. We're going to get into Night 2. We're going to get into Night 2 of NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. And the show, this seems like ages ago. This was last night. I was watching this. 1 a.m. Show opened up with Escobar versus Jordan Devlin for the Cruiserweight title. Obviously, the story going in was that Devlin was the Cruiserweight champion. Escobar was the first one. He took up the vacant title, and then Devlin's obviously come back. And the match itself, now, I have a big issue with ladder matches. I've sort of become desensitized to these ladder matches. Now, this did have a story going in that warranted a ladder match. But there's that many. I remember when, like, back in the day, like, I can sound old as fuck, but, like, if, like, the general manager at Raw SmackDown announced a ladder match, it'd be a big deal. It'd be a really big deal. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a ladder match on that show. Whereas now, we get ladder matches, it feels like, on every B-level, A-level, C-level type show. I mean, at least it weren't a multi-man one, and at least it did actually have a purpose. But I bet I'd love to see over the last 3 years, say 3 years, how many takeovers had a ladder match on. So it just feels like most of them seem to have it, but hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe someone's going to comment and say there was only 2. But the match itself, as I say, it was a good ladder match. Most ladder matches are good, but I don't know. I just feel like nobody's going to be a ladder match. You want people to come out of the show talking about it. In a few days, people talking about it. I don't feel like anybody will be talking about this match. It'll get lost in the shuffle, and it'll just go into that big long list of ladder matches, which these two are out there killing themselves. And it seems a shame that that's the case. But so the match itself, you had like, I don't know, just your typical dives. Jordan, there's moonsault off the ladder. Then Legado del Fantasma come out. They attack Devlin, push him off the ladder a bit too hard. He literally gets pushed over the top rope and he goes flying, smacks his head on the hardest part of the ring and falls out. And Devlin's doing everything Spanish, flies off the top of the ladder. And they're both up the top of the ladder. The conclusion of the match is they're both up at the top of the ladder, right? And Escobar pushes him off. And Devlin goes flying. Brutal spot. Lands, breaks the ladder that's propped up in the corner. And the way that Devlin sold it was great because he positioned himself so that his neck was literally bent the wrong way and he just stayed in that position. It was a great visual. Escobar then, now I know like on this Randy Orton broken skull thing, Randy Orton was like, look, Austin asked him why in the John Cena TLC match did he stand on top of the ladder and look around for a bit? And he's like, I was just soaking it in, Steve, yeah. And Escobar must have listened to this and did it, but Escobar isn't Randy Orton. Yeah, I still didn't like it when Randy Orton did it, but Randy Orton seemed to think it was great. But it just left you. It sort of made it a bit of an anticlimax to finish for me. Like, I was sort of thinking, oh, is something happening? Is he going to jump on Devlin? Is someone going to run out? And it was like, oh, he just pulled the belt off. Okay. So, yeah, that was it. Escobar won. They worked hard. I think I went about 3.5 stars. That seems to be the standard for ladder matches these days, around 3.5 stars. You might get the odd one that's like unbelievable, but you don't seem to get many of them. Now, this match, second match, I watched this. This is what actually sent me to bed last night. 10 minutes in, I just thought, oh, fuck this. It was The Way versus, it was Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae versus Shotzi and Ember for the tag team titles. Now, these NXT tag team titles, they've just been completely rushed onto the scene, haven't they? They've been passed from a couple of people, I think, already, and they don't feel like they mean anything. So I thought, do you know what? They need to go out and have a really good match here. And they didn't. Were these two the finals for the Dusty Road Classics? Were they? I feel like they were, weren't they? Maybe I'm wrong, but I know Shotzi and Ember was in that match. No, it was Raquel and Dakota, weren't it? Anyway. But this match, I thought, it was just a match. It was disappointing because this could have been just on any NXT TV. It wasn't special. It wasn't takeover worthy whatsoever at all, which was, I don't know, a little bit disappointing. It was just there, weren't it? There's not really anything really to talk about from the match. It just seemed a bit, I don't know, it was just like a TV match, which I did think was pretty strange. But hey, the champions retained, Shotzi and Ember retained. It was fine. There's nothing really worth talking about with it. I think I went like 2.5 stars, something like that. 2.75 I went. I think I was being generous there. I mean, the match finishes, Ember hits, the Eclipse. Shotzi hits a splash, and yeah, they just pin him clean. That was that. Thought, oh, all right then. 2 matches in. Well, the takeover, is it? I mean, the first 2 matches last night, a lot of people have been raving about this Pete Dunne Kushida match. For me, it was all right. It was too short, but a lot of people did seem to like it more than I did. We got Johnny Gargano versus Brunson Reed. Obviously, Brunson Reed the night before won the gauntlet match. They were playing that up a lot, and I thought they're either really putting him over strong or they're using it as an excuse. And it turned out to be an excuse. They went very fast here. They were working very fast. Gargano's working on Reed. Working on the ribs. And there was you had Austin Theory on the outside. And I'm thinking, this match, I just wanted him. I feel like, since I know it's easy to stereotype because they're both big, but I feel like the Keith Lee spot hasn't really been taken up. And I thought Bronson Reed's the perfect person to do it. And I feel like NXT does need new, fresh people on top, because they get all the talent whipped away onto the main roster. And I thought Bronson Reed, he's been there a while now. He's flirted with winning the title. I think he was in another ladder match, weren't he? About 5-6 months ago for this North American title. I thought just put the belt on him, but for whatever reason they didn't. I mean, the last 5 minutes of the match was pretty good. We get I don't know. We get a few dives. I mean, Theory's pissing about. It looks like Bronson Reed's going to win, but he hooks his foot onto the rope. Reed misses a moonsault, and then Johnny Gargano hits 2 final beats for the win. I mean, at least it took 2 finishers to beat him, but I don't know. I just don't really see what Johnny Gargano's got the whole comedy gimmick going on. I don't really see the purpose in keeping the belt on Gargano. Gargano did not need the win, and I think Bronson Reed. Where does Bronson Reed go from this? Do you know what I mean? If you can't even win the secondary title, I mean, maybe you can say, look, I'd competed 24 hours before I want another match, but that seems more like a heel tactic than a babyface tactic. But I don't know. I would like to see Bronson Reed winning this title. Maybe we'll go the route of having Swerve feud with Gargano. I think those two would have a good match. But yeah, I would have much preferred to have seen Bronson Reed win. The match itself, it wasn't one of the best, even the top 10 Johnny Gargano takeover matches you're going to see. It was good. It was good. I enjoyed it, but it was just there, wasn't it? And it was the third match of the night where there was nothing I was going to be writing home about or going crazy for on this podcast today, which basically I don't think there was anything on the show that I actually loved. The main event was good, obviously. Now we get the NXT title match. Finn Balor versus Karrion Kross. And going into it, I mean, Karrion Kross, I think it's fair to say he's had an underwhelming spell since being on NXT for the last 10 months or whatever. I know he had the injury halfway through, stopped his momentum. But I did like the story going into it. The video package for people like me who haven't really been watching NXT too often week to week. It told the story of like, look, we both had shoulder injuries. But the difference is, Balor was saying the difference is that he went on to win back his title, and would Karrion Kross be able to do it? It's all about that Balor's got the better cardio, Karrion Kross's power, and they were saying that like it's important that Karrion Kross wins early, because if it goes long, Balor's got that cardio to get him through. I did think they did a nice little teaser. They put Pete Dunne in the crowd, and obviously Dunne's a heel. So if you're thinking that he's going to face the winner of this, they're not going to do Karrion Kross versus Pete Dunne, are they? So by putting Dunne in the crowd, it made me think, oh, they're going to do Balor versus Dunne again. So I thought that was a nice little touch that they did. But yeah, everything leading up to it, they had like the build-up in the back of him walking to the ring. That was a nice little touch. They did make, by the time this match started, it felt big for me. It felt big. But then the bell rang, and it was fine. It wasn't the best Finn Balor match. Probably the worst Finn Balor takeover match during this reign. I just don't really see Karrion Kross. Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux. As soon as Vince sees Scarlett Bordeaux, he's going to want Karrion Kross. He's going to want them both on the main roster, really. And I was thinking maybe Balor will win here and Karrion Kross will just move on to the main roster, because I don't think Karrion Kross is the best fit for NXT. I don't think he's capable of putting on the great matches at the very top of the show, which you need with takeovers. But it was a decent match. It was decent. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like match of the night or anything. It wasn't what you'd want from the NXT title match. I mean, there was a really nice spot where Balor hits the coup de grace, and Karrion Kross sort of like kicks out two and rolls it into a chokehold. That was a really nice spot. They go back and forth for a little bit. Karrion Kross starts punching Finn Balor out on the mat, and then Balor gets up and he just punches him in the back of the head, lays him out for the 3. And yeah, Balor goes over. I mean, Karrion Kross goes over clean. I thought I'm not really up for seeing a Karrion Kross extended title reign here, but looks like that's what we're getting. I do think it's good that they're doing it whilst there's not like a crowd in. So as I said, don't think the crowd would be getting into the Karrion Kross. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe NXT fans love the Karrion. The character's fine, but it's just when he gets in the ring, I don't think he's up to. He's good, but he's not. You know what I mean? He's not like up in the top echelons of NXT wrestlers. But yeah, I went 3 stars on the match. I've seen people go a lot higher in it than me. There were a lot of people higher in it than me. But for me, it was the 4th match in a row that I didn't think was a takeover worthy match. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just tired. Maybe I've been watching a lot of wrestling and I've become immune to it. But for me, I just thought it was good. We've had 4 matches. 3 of them were good. 1 of them was all right. But from takeovers, I'm expecting a little bit more. Now, the main event, I just want to give a shout out to this main event. The prime target going into it, the video package was fucking great. Yeah, really good. Gets you hyped up for the match. It's weird seeing both of them use different entrance music to Undisputed. That's really strange. The match, I sat there and I thought, in hindsight, I personally prefer to watch these two go out there, just wrestle each other. But obviously, with the story they told where they're fighting in the MMA gym and all that stuff, they can't just go out there. I suppose they could. It was an MMA gym, but they were. I didn't watch it, but I think did they have like a car chase or something? So they can't go out there and wrestle. Although Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton set Bray Wyatt on fire, and they're going out having a wrestling match. So I don't see why not. I think the unsanctioned match did hinder him. It was a bit Gargano Ciampa-esque, I want to say. It was, I hear the term forced epic thrown about, but the match was very good. It was without doubt the match of the night. But I don't know, when I'm watching Cole and O'Reilly, I don't need toolboxes. I don't need crowbars. I don't need chains. I just want to watch them go out there for 20, 25 minutes and wrestle a great match. But I say the story called for it. The crowd pissed me off as well. Like Barrett put them straight. They started chanting 5-10 minutes in, "We want tables," and Barrett was like, "Show these men some respect." And I thought, go on, Wade, you tell them, press them through and through there, Wade Barrett. But and then they go on, and in the space, I kid you not. I was sat there, and I've been petitioning. I've been like, "Oh, we need fans back. Come on, these matches are going to be great with fans in." And a part of me thought, kind of just been reminded why maybe sometimes it's better without fans. As in the space of about 20 seconds, we get both these guys. We get Fight Forever. We get This Is Awesome. And I thought, at least we've not had to listen to any of these chants over the last 10 months, because can we just like all agree to just stop the This Is Awesome chant, to stop the Fight Forever chant, and especially the both these guys chant? I mean, it's awful. I don't understand why. If one of my mates is at a wrestling show with me and he started chanting "This is awesome," I'd give him a swift elbow in the gut. I'd be like, "Shut up, you dick!" But apparently, it's what they do. Impact, TNA. Well, not the one thing that TNA did that fucked wrestling up. This is awesome. I'm sure that chant stemmed from TNA, and it's been fucking passed on to pretty much every other wrestling company. But yeah, there's some good spots in this match. I mean, although I slagged off the chain at the start, there were some good spots with that. We get like the figure four with a chain. Cole pulls the chain and O'Reilly goes flying into it. A backstabber with a chain. There's, as I say, it wasn't personally the match for me. It wasn't the match that I wanted to see, but I can say that they did work their asses off. They took some crazy bumps, and it was quite innovative. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. There's a few things that we might not have seen before. Maybe it's happened on some indie show in front of 200 people, but it's things that I've not seen before. That sat on the chair fighting. Well, we've obviously seen that before. Panama Sunrise. The referee gets knocked down. And then Cole on the outside, right? Cole throws a chair at O'Reilly. This leads to the big spot. And Beth Phoenix shouts, "O'Reilly couldn't get his hands up there." And I thought, oh, fuck off, Beth. All that does is just points out. I mean, obviously, we all know they put the hands up to block the chair, but there might be someone watching who doesn't know this, yeah? And by saying it, you're pointing it out. So I hate it when the commentators do that. But yeah, so O'Reilly gets a choke on Cole. Cole charges forward. They go through the ramp. Luckily, that ramp it didn't go free last night when Io Shirai fell off. Jumps off the top of the skull. Back in the ring after this, after brawling around for a bit. Cole goes for one last shot on O'Reilly. O'Reilly just drops to the ground, and they go to the top rope. O'Reilly returns the favor from early in the match, hits a low blow. Cole conveniently, instead of falling out of the ring, falls into the ring. This chair's upside down. He's hovered over it. O'Reilly just jumps onto this chair, knees Cole. The chair falls through. Cole does a nice little twitch after. I thought he sold that well. 1, 2, 3. O'Reilly just falls onto Cole. It was a nice little touch. Do you think the match was a little bit overthought? They did try to have an epic, but it was brutal. Like I said, I would have preferred to have a normal wrestling match, but it was very, very good. I think I went 3.75 on this. So yeah, really good match. Match of the night. Now night one of Takeover for me was great. It was a lot better than the takeovers we've seen. This night two was sort of like reminiscent to the In Your House one, the one in August. Do you know what I mean? It was good, but it wasn't takeover level. That for me was last night. Now, your opinion on that could change, because if you love the Cole O'Reilly match, and there is people out there, believe it or not, that do. I mean, someone was arguing me on my status saying that it was a 5-star match. It wasn't, but everyone's welcome to the wrong opinions. But I'm only joking. But yeah. If you thought this match was as good as I thought Ciampa and Walter was, then I can probably understand why you thought the show was great. I didn't think the show was great. I thought it was good, but it wasn't. It was just like a really good TV special or something. But yeah, night one was great. Night two was good. So for me, night one was the better show. Going forward, maybe we can see Kyle O'Reilly versus Karrion Kross. That could be all right. Doesn't quite seem up. I don't know, Karrion Kross. I think Karrion Kross and Kyle O'Reilly could actually have a really good match. Do you think that's like the feud you'd make going forward, unless they carry on the Cole O'Reilly stuff? I'm interested in where Roderick Strong plays into all of this. Maybe Adam Cole goes up to the main roster. I don't know. It does look like Io Shirai is going up to the main roster, however, so we'll see that. We'll have a look at our poll, see how this poll's going on. Let's have a look. Maybe the people disagree with me have gone with night two. Would be like night one, 46%, night two, 53%. How? Have I just not got this right? Night one had Walter and Ciampa and that great tag team title match. That's 2 great matches. What did night two have? It had some good matches. That was it. But hey, 28 people have voted in the last 15 minutes. You're all pissed. No, I'm joking. Right. Is there anything else I wanted to talk to after about NXT? Now, I wanted to talk about all the indie shows tomorrow. I watched the Jimmy Lloyd show. There's not much to go into to talk about, in terms of like matches. There wasn't really any like matches that I'm like, oh, you should go out your way to. It was just a nice show, nice fun show. Crowd looked like they enjoyed themselves. There was some few crazy bumps on there. The main event was Starboy Charlie against Jimmy Lloyd. This Starboy Charlie is 18 years old. He doesn't seem like a very flippy guy, but I do think he looked like he'd be good in a few years. I enjoyed that. It was a decent main event. Other match on the show, Jordan Oliver defeated Everett Connors. That was a good match. I think Jordan Oliver looks really good. There was a match where Gino Medina just passed out. But yeah, that show was all right. I've been told that Daniel Garcia, had a really good match, which he had a good match yesterday. I can't think who he faced yesterday, but that was actually a good match on the Jimmy Lloyd show. But yeah, so my plan is, so Saturday, tomorrow we're going to talk about SmackDown, we're going to talk about Bloodsport, and we're going to talk about the Joey Janela Spring Break show, and maybe a couple of other matches. And basically it's going to be just like an overall thoughts on the indie show, and we're going to talk about SmackDown and briefly preview WrestleMania. That show will be late tomorrow afternoon, early night. I'll put on Twitter when that's going to be. Then Saturday, I'm going to record the show early Sunday morning, so by the time you wake up in the States, it'll be on all our podcast feeds, Apple, Spotify, Google. I know not as many people watch the show video-wise, but it'll be on YouTube. But yeah, so check out your podcast feeds. It'll be in there by the time you wake up Sunday morning. Then I'm going up to Leeds. I'm not sure. I'm hoping to get a podcast reviewing Night 2 of WrestleMania up on Monday morning. But as I've harped on about, the pub's open in the UK, and I haven't had a pint in a pub since December in Liverpool. So I will be going for a nice cold pint on Monday morning, whether it rains, snows, or thunders. So yeah, hopefully it's after 2 good nights of WrestleMania. But yeah, go and watch Bloodsport, because I'm an hour in. If you've not watched it, go and buy it. Fight TV $19.99. Use our referral code, by the way. It's on our Twitter homepage. But the first hour show has been really good. You've got Chavo Guerrero, Rocky Romero semi-main event, and you've got John Moxley against Josh Barnett in the main event. I've heard really good things about it. As I say, it looks like the Cuban Club looks like a really good venue, and I'm a bit gutted that we couldn't go there. So we've got a few comments in Wrestling Universe podcast. How's it going? He promoted some of our videos yesterday. Cheers, mate. Message me on Twitter if you want to do a collab like you were saying. I'm always up for stuff like that, although I don't really do that many these days, but in previous years we used to do that. But yeah, so that's TakeOver Night 2. I said, didn't think it was as good as Night 1, but it was a good show. And yeah, so we'll be back tomorrow. There's three more podcasts to go before I take a well-earned break. But yeah, WrestleMania weekend is in full force. And yeah, I will be back tomorrow to talk about the WrestleMania-themed Go Home SmackDown, where I'm sure everyone in that Andre the Giant Battle Royal is absolutely buzzing to be performing at the Thunderdome, right? Thanks for listening, everyone, and we will speak to you tomorrow.